Hello everyone, my name is Payal Tandon. Welcome to this YouTube live webinar on how to create error log for sentence correction. Thank you so much GMAT Club for giving us this platform to be of service to all of you. All right, so can everyone hear me clearly? Can you please press yes if you can? All right, sounds good. Okay, so let's get going here. So we are going to talk about how is it that you create an error log for sentence correction. Now, before I go into my presentation, I would want to understand from you as to when you make your error. First of all, what is the purpose of error log? Tell me that. What is the purpose of error log? What is the purpose of an error log? To track mistakes and learn from them. It helps us to keep note of mistakes we've done while answering and not to repeat the same mistakes again. Absolutely. Now, my next question to you is, when you create your error log, what do you typically enter? Say for an SC question, what would you typically enter? Apart from the question reference and the kind of question, what would you enter as a mistake? New findings such as what? Give me an example. Give me an example of what is it that you would write for a sentence correction error log. Point I missed and things I thought is correct. Okay. A little bit more question and the associated mistake. What is that mistake that you're going to write? What is that point that you missed that you're going to write? Take any example. If you have been maintaining an error log, take out your error log and then type out, copy paste whatever it is that you've written, a couple of entries or even a single entry. New rule, let's say idioms. Okay, so good, Rahul. So you're talking about a specific grammatical rule, idiom rule that you weren't aware of or that you missed out on. Good. Subject and verb or parallelism. Okay, so another grammatical rule that you made a mistake about or rather you didn't probably know how to use that, when to use like versus such as. Okay, all right, good. Very specific examples. Let's get a few more examples here just so we get a feel for, there are about 35 people in the session right now, where whether it's a parallelism, subject verb agreement or modifier error. Okay, all right. Good. So you would agree that the kind of rules, the kind of entries that you're making today pertain more to the grammatical aspects of stuff, right? So today the kind of entries that you make, they are more around the grammatical aspects, right? Because primarily, again, according to the perception, sentence correction tests you on these rules, and these rules should be something that you need to be aware of. So you would agree that primarily you're making entries based on the grammatical aspects that you miss out on or that you make mistakes on. Okay, all right, so good. Thank you so much for that input. Now in this session, my goal is to demonstrate how is it that you do strategic review of questions. And I know you must be wondering, we are talking about error log and why is she talking about strategic review? Again, you'll understand as I go into the session, you'll understand why strategic review of questions is the key aspect behind maintaining a solid error log that helps you make sure that you don't make the same mistakes again. Okay. And then based on the strategic review, I'm going to tell you how is it that you create an error log. What kind of entries are you going to be making? Should you be making? Not are you going to be making? Should you be making in your error log so that the purpose of the error log is met? Okay, and for this, what we're going to do is we're going to solve 5 difficult questions. Again, these are difficult questions, and primarily, I mean, if you think about it, Difficult questions is where is what your goal is. Your goal is to be able to get to the point wherein you're given difficult questions and you should be able to answer those questions correctly, right? So that's what our goal is, for us to achieve that 90th percentile ability. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be taking 5 difficult questions. We're going to be solving one question at a time, and we're going to teach you I'm going to teach you how is it that, given a solution, what is it that you should be paying attention to in the solution so that you can absorb as much as you can from the solution and create appropriate error log. Okay. Now, one more question before we go ahead. How much time do you typically spend in reviewing the solution of a question that you answer incorrectly? How much time do you spend to review a solution? Let's say you're spending 1.5 minutes to solve the question. How much time do you spend to review the solution? What is the time that you spend to review the solution? So tell me that. Let's get that input as well. All right, so I see zero point 0.5, half a minute to a minute per answer choice. So that's about 5 minutes max. Then I have 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, what else? Let's get some more, 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, if I get it wrong, then it's 5 to 10 minutes. 5 to 6 minutes, 5 times as much time. Okay, so 5 to 6 minutes. So majority of people over here spend about 5 minutes, ballpark 5 minutes per question to review the solution. Now, as we get to the end of this session, or as you review two of the solutions, two of the questions, so as we go through two of the questions here, what you're going to find is that my rule of thumb is you need to be spending 10 minutes, at least 10 minutes, to review the solution in order to do effective strategic review. Okay, and this is especially very, very critical when you are in stage 1 of learning. And again, I hope you guys remember from Rajat's session where he explained to you the different stages of learning. In stage 1 of learning, you are learning the concepts, you're learning the methods. So there you are anyway spending time to review the solutions, because that's what you do through the application files. When you get to stage 2 of learning, that's when you are cementing your methods. You're cementing the methods. You're already at that 65 to 75, you're already at that 65 to 70 percentile ability before you begin stage 2. And now you need to take this ability to 90th percentile ability. And that is why you are doing cementing of the methods. Now, when you're doing cementing, you need to spend 10 minutes per question in reviewing the solution of every question. That's when you do that on 40 to 50 questions, by the time you reach that 40th question, by the time you reach that 50th question, you know that you have already achieved that 90th percentile ability. So what I'm talking about is not spending 10 minutes on the thousands of questions that you think you need to attempt, but spending 10 minutes on that handful of questions, on that 40 to 50 questions, maximum 60 questions that you need to do in stage 2 in order to cement your methods. That is what we are going to be talking about in this session. And the output of that review needs to be appropriate entries in your error log. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about. And now let's come to question number 1. I'm going to give you, I would say 1.5 minutes to solve this question. And as soon as I start to, and you can put in you can put in your answers right as soon as you get to the answer. And I think all of us over here will not get swayed by the answers that others put in. So let's just solve this question, and then we're going to talk about how is it that you do the strategic review. This is an official guide question, OG 2020, I believe, as well. So yeah, here's the question. Go ahead and solve it. All right. It's a lot more than, it's about almost 2 minutes now. So I see a few responses, 5 Ds and 4 Bs, 5 Bs now. Okay, so 5 Ds and 5 Bs. Okay, all right, let's just write that down. And then there are a few Cs as well. So let me just take a count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 Ds, 7 Ds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7. Okay, so I'm going to just take the count now. 7 Ds, 6 Bs, and then there were some Cs as well. 1, 2, 2 Cs. Okay. These are the stats. Now, let me show you the stats that we have on our platform. And let's go here. Everyone can hear me clearly, right? Okay, all right. So here are the stats on our platform. 36% of students answer this question correctly. Choice B is the correct answer. But as we saw over here, choice D is the next popular choice. Choice D also garners quite a few votes. 32% of students typically select choice D. Okay, and then choice E and choice C are also decently popular choices. And in this group, we saw choice C to be another one of the popular choices, other than choice D. Okay. Now, how is it that you need to, now that you've answered this question, okay, and you've answered this incorrectly. So what is it that you're going to do? Typically, what students do is let's say people who have selected choice D as the correct answer, this is the more popular incorrect choice, they would only read the explanation for choice D and they would mark that in their error log, right? That's what typically students do. They don't focus on the other aspects of the question. They focus more on the choice that they selected, the incorrect choice that they ended up selecting as the correct choice, and they make a note regarding that as to what error did they miss out on. Now, while this is okay, you need to do that, there are quite a few things that you need to do before that as well. And that's what we're going to be focusing on next. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is, I'm not going to be explaining this to you because ultimately you need to be able to do this strategic review analysis on your own. Okay. I'm not going to be there with you when you're solving for 50 to 60 questions in the cementing phase. You need to be able to interact with the content that you have on your own. So what I want you to do right now is take a look at the meaning analysis that you're going to see in a typical EG-MAT solution, whether it's for official question or whether it's for EG-MAT question. Go through it, and then I'm going to show you the summary as well. So go through this. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to go through this, and then we'll start talking. All right. I'm going to now show you the summary as well. Now, this is the summarized meaning, so go through it now. Okay, so now that you've gone through the meaning analysis here, is the meaning absolutely clear in your head? Type yes if after going through the meaning analysis, meaning is absolutely clear in your head. You don't have any confusions. Or if you have any confusions, ask those doubts right now. So the meaning is clear, right? Pretty clear. Okay. Now what I want you to do is, this is the analysis that I want you to do. This is the thought process that I want you to follow every time you're reviewing a solution. Now what I want you to do is take a look at these aspects of the meaning, and I want you to tell me how many of you were not able to identify this aspect, or how many of you did not register this aspect of the meaning when you solved the question on your own. not after having read the meaning analysis. Now that you know that now that you understand that this is what the sentence is saying, I want you to go back into the analysis that you had done and tell me how many of you were not able to identify this aspect. So I see that Kavanagh was not able to identify that Neanderthals do not exist in the present time. Let's see, who else? Say yes if you were not able to identify this aspect of the meaning. And if you did identify this aspect, then say, I was able to identify. So again, I'm guessing the yeses mean that you were not able to identify this meaning, right? Okay, Kriti was able to, Priyanshu was able to, Vishwesh was able to. Okay, Oishik was also able to. Good. All right. Now let's now again, this is the inference that you have to draw from the context of the sentence, right? That NDs do not exist in the present time. Now the next one over here is the sentence presents a contrast related to Neanderthals. Now this is explicitly stated in the sentence, and I'm pretty sure that almost everyone would have been able to identify this, right? Now the contrast is that, now what is the contrast? Is that even though NDs seem to have everything required to face the environmental challenges, their sudden disappearance during this Paleolithic era shows that they failed to adjust with some environmental changes, right? So this is the summary that you needed to draw from the sentence. Now tell me how many of you were able to understand this summary. My guess is people who selected choice D as the correct answer were not able to identify number one. People who selected any other answer choice other than choice B were probably not able to understand the summary as a whole. So now tell me, looking at these three things, I want everyone to tell me which ones were you able to identify and which ones you were not able to identify. Because there is a reason why you selected choice D, why more people selected choice D than people who than the number of people who selected choice B. So let's get some responses here, because this is the critical thing. This is the critical thing that you haven't been doing till now. So LP identified all, okay. I want people who selected choice D to speak up here. Kavna was able to identify 2 and 3. Okay, good. So Kavna, now you understand that you were not able to identify an inference. So this is a skill that you need to build. Okay, inference is not just required for critical reasoning questions or for RC questions. You need to understand the sentence, and for that you need to draw inferences. Okay, so that's the feedback to you, Kavna. Abhishek Jha, I didn't think that it was in the past. Okay, so again, you need to draw that inference. Now, the point is that these NDs are no longer, they were extinct, right? So that's the reason why you need to draw that inference that they don't exist in present time. Okay. So Anand was not able to assimilate the meaning, which is number 3. So Anand, that's a feedback for you. You always have to summarize the entire sentence. Again, think about an SC sentence to be composed of 1, 2, 3, let's say 4 pieces, right? Now, how do these pieces come together is what you need to summarize, is what you need to do at the end of the meaning analysis. You need to summarize all these 4 pieces together. And that is how you come up with the summary of the sentence. So again, you need to do that, Rahul. Okay. Now, Anand, sorry. Rahul is saying, I understood the meaning, but was confused with have been. So that's a good point, Rahul. We'll talk about that when we come to the answer choice analysis. And again, that's why you need to, once you know that, okay, this is what the summary is, and these are the different aspects of the sentence, then you need to do the other processing, which is from grammar standpoint, or which is from comparison of answer choice standpoint. So we'll get to that, okay? But the key thing which has been missing till now in your analysis is that you don't pay enough attention to the meaning aspect of the sentence, to include that meaning aspect into your error log, to include that as a corrective action. Okay, so Rahul is saying I selected D and got the meaning as mentioned in 3 but was confused with have been. Okay, all right, let's look at that. Abhishek is saying I eliminated A, B and C as I thought since they were extinct, they can't appear to have required everything. Okay, all right, so we'll get to that. So again, I will tell you what error code you need to put for this particular for the thought process that you have displayed, Abhishek. Okay. Geo is also saying I prefer C over B because of have been. Good point. So keep those points intact, and then we'll get to those when we come to the error log entries. Now we come to the error analysis. Now, the error analysis over here is again from meaning standpoint, okay? And I'll walk you through this. Again, what I've done over here is I haven't really, this is the kind of solution that you're going to see for every question. Okay, so I want you to get used to reading this kind of solution. Okay, so I didn't want to show you a typical PowerPoint solution that I typically have. I wanted to display the solution that you need to be in the habit of assimilating as you are doing strategic review in stage 2. Okay, so meaning error, since we know that NDs do not exist in the present time, it would not be correct to say that NDs appear to be equipped. When you say something appears to be something, right? It appears to be, so students today appear to be equipped to handle GMAT questions or difficult GMAT questions. That is giving you a fact about today. These students appear to be equipped today, right? And that is why the sentence is wrong. Why? Because NDs don't exist today. That is why appear to be equipped is the wrong language over here. Okay. Now there's the other stuff as well, wherein this is an idiom error. As equipped is actually wrong idiom. Then another one, equipped for facing, that is incorrect. There should be an intent over here, and that's why to face is correct. Okay, so these were the 2 errors in the original choice. Okay, now I see that none of you selected choice A, which means that you would have been able to identify some or the other errors over here, but this is also very important. How many errors were you able to identify on your own when you did the error analysis? Were you able to identify all the errors, or were you only able to identify one or the other? Now, let's say you were not able to identify error number 2. So I want you to make a note of that, because that's a learning that you need to have. Okay. Now let's go further. Now we're going to take a look at choice B. Now, for those of you who got the meaning right, but who still rejected choice B, you need to take a note of this construction over here. Appear to have been equipped tells you that they were equipped back then. You're talking about past. You're talking about the fact that they appear to have been equipped. To have been equipped gives you an idea about what their state was back when they were alive. Okay, so that is what they appear today to have been equipped to face any obstacles back when they were alive. That is the sense that this expression tells you, that this verb tense tells you. So if you weren't confused about it, if you rejected this answer choice, despite knowing the meaning, despite having drawn all the inferences, despite doing the summary of the sentence, you need to make this as a note, and this needs to be your learning. That what is the usage of this kind of construction have appeared to have been equipped. Okay, does this point make sense? Yes or no? So this is what needs to go in your error log. Okay, apart from other stuff. Okay, now let's come to choice C. Choice C, a couple of people selected choice C, and again over here, the 2 issues that exist in choice A also exist in choice C. The only issue that has been corrected is the to-face issue. Right, so the meaning issue exists, that appear as equipped means that NDs today appear as equipped, right? So that's the wrong, that's the incorrect meaning. And then as equipped is also incorrect idiom. So people who weren't able to reject choice A on solid grounds, or weren't able to identify all the issues with choice A, still ended up selecting choice C. Okay, now let's take a look at D, appeared as equipped. Now, this is the choice that also has the same idiom error as in choice A, but it has this appeared issue. Now, appeared, what that means is that NDs in the past appeared as equipped. Now, they don't appear to be equipped. And that is what is incorrect. That is not the sense. The sense of the sentence is that as we stand here today, looking at the archaeological evidence, looking back into the past, Neanderthals as a species appear today to have been equipped. If we are saying that they appeared as equipped, that means that they don't appear, that it's not the fact of the present, right? And that is what is wrong. The appear part is present. That is actually correct. Okay, the thing that is wrong is as equipped. This part is wrong over here. Okay, that's why the only thing you had to change from choice A was this particular have been equipped verb tense. Okay, that's the grammatical knowledge that you need to have. Again, this grammar knowledge leads to your meaning understanding, that what is the usage of this construct have been equipped, appear to have been equipped. What does that usage imply in terms of meaning? That is the knowledge that you need to have. Okay, so that is why choice D is wrong, because choice D is saying that back in the past, Neanderthals appeared as equipped. They no longer appear as equipped. That is what is wrong. Okay, so that is why choice D is wrong. Choice E is wrong. Again, not many people selected choice E. Again, here also appeared is the issue, for facing is the issue. Okay, now Priyanshu is saying, I took help from the third clue, paths. Again, my attention didn't even go there. Okay, and that's the benefit of focusing on the meaning aspect of it, because most of my errors here appear and to have been equipped, they are all from meaning perspective, right? So I focus all my energy on meaning, and that's why I don't have to break my head over whether path is correct or whether paths is correct. Frankly, you have path, and let's sorry about that. Let's come back here. Let's see, you have path here, and I'm going to evaluate this difference right now. You have path here, and path here. So basically there's only one choice that has paths, which is choice C. So how do you determine which is the correct one? I really don't have a basis to select that. In their path, essentially, here their choice B is the correct one, right? Now you could say that, okay, how do you decide whether it is whether you need to use path or paths? Here, if you were to simply apply your rationale, you'll say you're talking about Neanderthals, and they're talking about there, so there should be multiple paths. Or you can or you can reason it out as Neanderthals as a species has had one path, right? So again, it's hard to make that determination, right? So I wouldn't really rely on this on this split. Okay. All right, now I have some comments here. Jay is saying, over the last few sessions in GMAT Club and in some blogs, it has been mentioned that GMAT is going away from idioms-based questions and focusing more on meaning. Is idiom still important to memorize? Jay, it's a good point. And again, it's absolutely right. In fact, I would say since OG 2011, GMAT has actually changed its focus from idiom focused to more meaning focused. It's not just recently the switch. That switch hasn't happened today. Since 2010, since we launched our course, we've been talking about the meaning-based approach, because since then, the GMAT has actually changed its focus from idiom heavy to more meaning logic heavy, which is really in our favor. Right now, in terms of whether you need to memorize the idioms or not, I don't think you have to memorize all the possible idioms. It's not possible to do that. You don't need to do that. Okay. But what you need to do is, as you're solving questions that give you a certain idiom. For example, over here, it's very clear that as equipped is actually not a correct idiom. So just make a note of that. So I won't say that you go out of your way to learn the idioms, but as you are doing questions, and as you're doing strategic review, utilize those questions, the strategic review of those questions, as the learning opportunity to learn about the idioms that are tested on the GMAT. Okay, not just any kind of idioms. Okay, and again, idioms should not be the first way to reject answer choices. That's always been my thing. You need to rely on meaning, and that is what I'm saying. That over here, my premise of the main rationale, the main points or the main hinges on which I'm solving this question is my logic of whether appear is correct or whether appeared is correct, and that's from my meaning analysis, and the usage of this verb tense, which again leads to how is it this verb tense, how does this verb tense communicate the meaning? Okay, so that is how I'm utilizing. As equipped, again, my attention doesn't even go there. But again, you don't need to rely on that at all. Okay, but again, as you're learning, you need to utilize all these as learning opportunities. I hope that answers your question, Jay. Stefan, confused with paths approach, don't worry about that. Again, because I'm confused as well, because I really can't make a determination whether path is correct or whether paths is correct. And again, it's not a very solid way to reject an answer choice. And again, that proves my point. Don't worry about doing the splits. Focus on solving the question, utilizing the method that is based on meaning analysis. Okay, if you focus on that, your attention won't even go to these inconsequential splits. Okay, so I don't want you to split your hair over these not inconsequential ones. Okay, all right, so now let's talk about the strategic review process. Okay, so everyone understands the question, right? How to solve the question. Now the first thing that you have to do when you're reviewing a solution is, after you're done reviewing the entire solution, you have to question yourself, did I have 100% understanding of the meaning? And by that, I mean that when you are doing, let's go back to the meaning slide here, were you able to understand all these aspects of the meaning? Okay. If you weren't able to understand even a single aspect, then you had then you didn't have 100% understanding of the meaning. Okay, and you have to be very, very critical over here. You need to be your worst critic here. Okay, or your best critic here. Right, so you need to have 100% understanding of the meaning. If you don't have that, then you need to do certain other kind of analysis. But let's first come here. Let's say for people who got all the 3 points from the solution, I would classify you as what I call as group A. Okay, so I need you, so in your error log entry, I want you to put that for this question, you belong in group A. Why? Because you got 100% understanding of the meaning. Now, because you had 100% understanding of the meaning, I need you to make 2 more entries. One is, why did you reject the correct choice? Because you understood the meaning correctly, but you still ended up selecting, let's say, choice D in this case. Okay, why did you do that? Now, there are 2 reasons for that. One could be that the sentence structure is a little weird and you didn't think that such a weird sentence structure could be a correct answer choice, right? Or there could be certain grammatical error that you were, there could be certain grammatical construct that you thought is actually incorrect, which is what is the case in this question. For choice D, for choice B, you thought that, okay, have been equipped doesn't seem to be correct, right? So you need to make that analysis, you need to make that determination. The second question that you need to answer is, why did you select the incorrect answer choice? If you selected choice D, why did you do that? And you need to put solid rationale behind it. Okay. So again, for the first question, why did you reject the correct answer choice? It could be either unfamiliar sentence structure or there is certain grammatical concept gap. In this case, choice D choice B definitely had certain grammatical concept gap with regards to choice B, in that you didn't know that have been equipped is the correct verb tense to explain something that was true in the past but no longer in the present, right? Now that is the entry that you make. Okay, now why did you accept the incorrect answer choice? There could be 2 reasons. Again, you could not identify the meaning distortion that's happening, and which is what is the case with choice D. With choice D, with the use of appeared, you actually couldn't identify that there is a meaning distortion. Okay, and that is what you need to identify as you are creating your error log. Or there could be certain grammatical concept gap. You didn't know what a certain grammatical concept leads to, and that's why you made an error. Now, in this case, it could also be an idiom error. You weren't aware of a particular idiom, and that's why you selected the incorrect answer choice. Okay, so again, this is the kind of analysis that you need to do if you have determined that you had 100% understanding of the meaning. Okay, is this point clear? And we'll get to the next spectrum as well. If you didn't have 100% understanding of the meaning, then we'll get to what is the error log entry that you need to do there. But first, tell me, does this make sense? Because this is the crux of what we're going to be talking about. So does this group A analysis make sense? 200% agree. I like that, Stephen. Am I pronouncing your name correctly? Stephen, yeah. All right. Good. Now, my next question is, how many of you do this level of analysis today? My guess is not many of you. Given the kind of error log entries that you were talking about earlier, the answer is no. Okay, Prabhakaran, if you're doing that, that's really good. Now you need to start. Everyone needs to start doing that. Okay. Jay, how to do that analysis? You will end up doing that analysis on your own today. I am not going to do that analysis for you. I'm here just as a facilitator. Okay, and there is a reason why I chose to do this part, because it's really very important. It's very critical for you to do this analysis so that you can get to that 90th percentile ability in the right manner. Okay, so that you get there. People today, they just solve questions after questions without doing a proper review, and they end up really wasting so much of time and not even getting to their target score. Very good, Prabhakaran. You end up spending 30 minutes, 2 hours learning everything. That's really good. I just write the wrong grammar part from it. Okay, good. Very nice. Prabhakaran, you're on the right path. That's really good. And it's good to see you in these sessions here. All right, Rahul, good. And again, that's why we are here. I know that this is the thing that students do, and that's the reason why I'm here, making sure that I tell you that the way you're doing things right now is not the right way. Okay, now let's come to the next category. There are quite a few students over here. Now, first tell me, how many of you belonged in Group A for this question? So write down Group A if you belonged in. Actually, I'll get that input later. Okay. I'll get that input later. Now, let's say you didn't get 100% understanding of the meaning, right? In that case, I want you to probe yourself a little bit more and think about, did you get at least the gist of the sentence? Or did you get, when I say gist of the sentence, did you get more than 50% of the meaning, right? Now, again, I don't want you to be very mathematical here. It's more of your self-critique. How confident did you feel about your analysis, your meaning analysis, after you read the sentence on your own, right? Now, if you got more than 50% understanding of the meaning, then you belong in Group B. Now, what do I mean by Group B? By Group B, what I mean is that you read the individual parts, but you weren't able to go a step further to infer certain stuff. For example, point number 1 in our meaning analysis was pertain to drawing an it required you to draw an inference that Neanderthals don't exist in the present, right? So you didn't really go that far. You didn't really understand that, right? Or because you are typically in a hurry to read the sentence, you only focused on the underlined portion of the sentence and you didn't bother much about the non-underlined part of the sentence when you were trying to understand the meaning. It could be any one of these two. Okay. The key thing is you have to understand what made you not get 100% understanding of the meaning. And believe me, one thing that I will tell you is, all of us over here are smart individuals, are logical people. There is no reason why, if you spend the effort on the original choice, that you would not get 100% of the meaning. There's nothing stopping any of you to get that 100% of the meaning, except for your willingness to do so. So if you belong in Group B, it is your willingness that is a question. And that is what you have to figure out, you have to probe into, and you have to probe deep into it. And again, and you won't be able to do this if you are simply skimming through the solution. Okay, you need to sit down, solution needs to be in front of you, and you need to think about, why did I not do that? Why did I not draw that inference? It's right there in front of me, right? That's the kind of probing that you have to do, and that takes 10 minutes. That can even take up to 15 minutes, right? So again, spend the time. Don't worry about quantity. Figure out what all information can you get from that question. And believe me, these questions are goldmine. Okay, official questions are absolutely amazing. EGMAT questions are absolutely amazing. If you solve just the EGMAT questions in Scholaranium in your course and the official questions, you don't need to solve anything else. Okay, but again, you need to do this level of analysis in order to get everything from the questions. Okay, now, if you got less than 50% of the meaning, by this what I mean is that as you were going through the sentence, you didn't have much clue about the sentence. All you could gather from the sentence was it's about Neanderthals and something about extinction and whatnot, right? In that case, you belong in group C, which means that you haven't even attempted to understand the meaning of the sentence. Now, the difference between groups B and C is group B is aware. There is awareness that meaning is important. Okay, that awareness exists. Okay. For group C, that awareness itself doesn't exist. No awareness. Group C relies on splits. Group C relies on meaning as one of the errors that you have to spot. You first do all the splits or all the similarities, dissimilarities, and then if you can't get to the answer, then you go into the meaning. So group C is completely unaware of the meaning-based approach, okay, or is completely unaware of the right way of doing the meaning-based approach. Okay. Now, the corrective action for each of these groups is going to be different. Corrective action for group C. Now, again, if you notice one thing, my flowchart stops here. For group B, I'm not even asking group B guys to do any of this analysis. Why? Because it's meaningless for them to do that analysis. They won't be able to get to the meaning, right? So, which means that they shouldn't be really wasting their time in figuring out why they selected the incorrect choice, okay? Because they didn't do the basic step. That's why the main thing over here is, the main focus of group B is to get to the point wherein they push themselves to 100% understanding of the meaning. Okay, they have to probe themselves to get to 100% understanding of the meaning. That's the corrective action that they have to make. For the next question that they attempt, they should be spending 30 seconds extra on the original sentence so that they get to that 100% understanding. They have to prove to them that they are willing to get to that level of understanding. That's the corrective action for them. The corrective action for group C is to first buy into the meaning-based approach. Okay, and if they haven't bought into the meaning-based approach, then they're at the wrong place, right? And then that 90th percentile ability is going to be a far-fetched dream for them. Okay, so again, that's why the corrective action for group C is to first get to the level that they spend the time in understanding the meaning. Okay, now, what kind of error log entry are you going to make for this particular question? For this question, what you're going to see is you're going to write down the question number. When you're solving this question on your own, you're going to write down whether you got the question correct or not. Then you're going to write down what group do you fall in. Do you fall in group A over here, or do you fall in group B1 or in group B2? Because again, the corrective action for both these groups is also different. Okay, B1 is that you understood the individual chunks, but you didn't put them together, or you didn't spend those extra 15 seconds to just ponder about what it is that you have read. Okay, you were at the surface. Group 2 is that you didn't even focus on the entire sentence. So your next question that you attempt, you need to push yourself to read the entire sentence, right? So corrective action is different, right? So you need to write that down. Now, if you are in group A, so your error log entry is going to stop over here if you are in groups B1, B2, B, or C. If you are in group A, then you're going to write down two things. One is, why did you reject the correct choice? Second is, why did you accept the incorrect choice? And here you can write down details. You can write down detailed notes. You can have multiple columns here under this particular thing, but you need to do this. Your error log needs to include, why did you reject the correct choice? Okay, and it's at a high level, it should be these two, and then you can put some more description over there to talk about what was the unfamiliar sentence structure, or what was the unknown grammatical gap, or what was the concept gap. Okay, now, two very essential components for effective strategic review. Okay, one is the detailed solutions that are based on the three-step meaning-based method. Without a detailed solution, you can't do this level of analysis. Without the detailed solutions, you won't know what aspect of meaning did you forget. Okay, without the detailed solutions, you won't know the details of what is wrong in each and every answer choice. Okay, so you need to have these detailed solutions in order for you to do this level of review. Okay, second thing which you need to bring in, this part I will bring in, and I've already brought that part in, right? The EG Mat course gives you that. The second thing you have to bring in, without which, no matter how good the solutions, no matter how good your error log, you won't be able to create a good error log, which is your ability to do effective self critique. You have to be your own best critic there. Okay, that's what you have to do. Okay, if you don't do that, no matter how good the solution, you won't be able to get to that level of precision. Okay, and again, remember, what is it that you are aiming for? You're aiming for that 90th percentile ability. You want to be the best amongst the best, the top 6% of all the GMAT test takers. That's where you want to be at, right? To do that, you have to be very critical of yourself. Okay, don't regard anything as, oh, that was a silly mistake, oh, I just missed that. No, there's nothing like, oh, I just missed that. Okay, ultimately think about it. If you miss that kind of a question in the exam environment, you are actually missing out on a whole lot. Okay, that could be the difference between that scholarship that you get. That could be the difference between that admit from the dream school that you don't get, right? All right. Okay, so now the error log entry for this question, and I'm going to make a sample entry, and I want you, after I give you the sample entry, to give me your entry for this specific question. I got this question wrong. Again, that's just a sample entry. I belong in group A. Reject reason was unfamiliar usage to have been. I didn't know that this is the correct usage. I accepted choice C and I didn't notice a change in meaning caused by appeared. Okay. Now, with this analysis, let's say after I've solved 10 questions and I've bookmarked these questions, right? And I have made such good notes. Again, in the EGMAT system, okay, first of all, you can maintain your own error log in Excel, and we provide you with these codes. Secondly, you can make all these notes as notes against each question, and then you can bookmark these questions. Now at the end of, let's say you've solved 10 questions, what you do is you go back and take a look at these 10 questions. You spend about half an hour figuring out what was the main reason why you answered these questions incorrectly. If you find that, let's say 50% of the questions you belong in group B1, which means that now your corrective action has got nothing to do with grammatical concepts. Your corrective actions pertain to you spending those 15 seconds extra to infer the meaning of the sentence. Or if you see that, okay, for 30% of questions you belonged in group B2, that means you are not applying the meaning based approach properly. You're still rushing through the original sentence, only focusing on the underlined portion. Okay, or if you find that, okay, for 70% of questions you belong in group A. Now in this group, if you already belong in group A for 70% of questions, now you can be talking about, why am I missing out on these questions? If I'm understanding the meaning, what step am I not doing right? Okay, that's when you do all of this analysis in a collated fashion, that's when patterns start to appear. That's when you can now make a drastic change in what it is that you're doing. Does this make sense, guys? Again, this is the crux of everything that I'm going to be talking about. This is the crux of maintaining a proper error log. This is the reason why you need to do strategic review. Okay, and you need to understand it. And it takes effort. If I'm saying that you need to spend 10 to 15 minutes every question, it takes effort. Okay, if you have to get to that top 6%, you need to put in the effort. Anand is saying sometimes meaning assimilation is a challenge for me. So Anand, if that's the case, then you need to spend some more time with the application files. Okay, you need to focus more on those. Figure out which type of sentences you're having difficulty in. Are the sentences in which you're having difficulty written in incorrect manner, or even if they're written correctly, you're still having problems assimilating it? And again, that's where you have the right content. What you have to do is you have to question yourself. You have to be that, you have to ask those questions on your own. Okay, and you have to find those answers. Right? I can only guide you so much, right? I can give you the right tools. I can tell you this is what you have to do. But ultimately, that diligence, that self-critique has to come from you. That willingness to take a step has to come from you. Does that make sense, Anand? And again, I'm so glad that you guys are so open over here and you guys talk about the problems that you're facing. right? And again, you're not alone. People face those problems. I know that people don't create proper error logs. They talk about error logs. They have all these brilliant formulas in there. But again, what is the purpose of the error log if that error log is not based on the process that you need to solve? The error log should be able to tell you what is the process change that you have to do. Okay, Stephen is saying wrong. Group B, rejection reason, confused with verb tense, unclear on meaning. Good, very nice. You haven't told me the acceptance reason. Why did you accept the incorrect choice? Okay, you need to put that in as well. Let's get some more error log entries for this question, and then I'll move on to the second question. And in that question, you're going to be doing the error log entry on your own. But let's get a few more responses here. All right. I don't see many responses right now. Let's move to our next question. Question number 2. This is also official question. So I'm going to give you a minute and a half, and let's get going here. All right. So I have 4 responses as yet. So let's get some more responses here. Amazing. So everyone is converging to choice C, which is absolutely amazing. Now, these are the choice C is the correct answer. These are the stats from our platform based on 1,500 responses since this question was launched. 47% of the class of those 1,000 plus responses got the question correct. But then other than that, choices B and E are the popular incorrect choices, and choice A as well is pretty popular. So now we're going to do a detailed analysis. Again, all of you converge to the correct answer choice, which is good. Now, one thing that I do tell my students is that regardless of whether you get the question right or not, okay, first of all, if you get the question wrong, you definitely need to do strategic review. Now, for the questions that you get right, you should do strategic review for the questions that you get right if you took longer to solve those questions, or if you were unsure about the answer choice that you were marking. So now tell me, for those of you, all of you selected choice C, were any of were you unsure of the of choice C, or were you at the last minute thinking, could it be choice B or could it be choice E again, whatever? If you were 100% sure of your choice of your choice selection, then you probably don't need to do a detailed strategic review. But if you had even an iota of doubt, you should do strategic review even for the questions that you get right, because you stand the chance of learning from that particular question. Okay, so how many of you had even slightest of the doubts before you selected choice C as the correct answer? Kavna took a lot of time. Yes, I mean there were some people who selected who marked the choice within few seconds, within few I would say within 45 seconds. But there were some of you who took more than a minute and a half. So again, if you had even the slightest of the doubts, then you need to do strategic review. So that's another thing. So Jay, you're right. You were toggling between C and E, but E has redundant, so you chose C. So again, we have to figure out if that truly is the issue. Now again, in Jay's case, he can look at choice E and figure out, okay, there is a redundancy issue. If that's the only reason that choice E was wrong, then he doesn't need to do detailed strategic review of this question. Okay, so again, what I'm telling you guys is that how do you figure out whether you need to do strategic review of a question or not? Okay, so let's take a look at the detailed stuff here. Now, Kriti, you're saying that meaning that A is suggesting is completely different from the other answer choices. How would you know which meaning is correct? A always tells you the correct logical meaning. Now, A may not be logic, A may not explicitly state that meaning, but whatever logical meaning you can infer from choice A, that is what the correct meaning is. Okay, so let's take a look at this now. Now, good that you are bringing up those doubts. That's really good. Now, what I'm going to do is, again, I'm not going to explain the solution. This is the solution that you would get for this official question on the EGMAT platform. It's just copy pasted from our platform over here. Look at this solution. And then I'm also going to give you the summary over here. So read through the summary, and then we'll move on to our strategic review first step about the meaning. All right, about a minute reading this sentence. Do all of you understand the meaning of this sentence? So now I'm going to show you at a high level, there are two negative situations faced by this company. Two things are at the verge of snapping: patience of its customers and the network. The company has declared new series of measures to reduce the congestion that has led to the stated issues. Again, what are the stated issues? The at least four class action lawsuits and thousands of complaints from frustrated users, right? Now, tell me which ones of these were you not able to identify when you solved this question? And if you were able to identify all, or if you were absolutely 100% sure about all these aspects, then say identified all. But tell me, which ones of these were you not able to identify? So, Kriti, with the patience of his customers and with its networks trained to the breaking point, again, good point. What you are saying is, and let's look at what Kriti is saying. Is A not trying to convey that the customers were actually patient, and thanks to the patience that the customers showed while the network was reaching its breaking point? Okay. So what you are doing, Kriti, is you are looking at the stuff on its face value. Okay, you have to go into, and that's where drawing inferences from the original sentence is so very important. You look at the pieces here. The pieces are with the patience of his customers. So with something about the customers, patience of its customers, and its network strained to the breaking point. So again, what was strained to the breaking point? Logically, what the author is trying to say is that the patience of its customers was actually strained to the point the customers were getting so impatient now. Their patience was actually strained so much that it caused frustration in the customers, right? So there are two things that were at the breaking point. One was the patience of the customers, and the second was the network. Okay, so you need to draw an inference over here. There are two negative situations. Okay, and that is something which now you have to do. The thing that you are doing is you're focusing on the meaning, but you are not getting, you're taking things on the face value. You need to delve a little bit deeper into it. Okay, so so for some of you, Stephen, Lack Tutor, Alma's identity meaning was very clear. Kavna, Kriti meaning was not very clear. You're absolutely right, Prabhakaran. The rest of the sentence sets the context, and that is why it's so important to read the entire sentence. That's why when you're reading a typical sentence correction sentence, don't just be concerned about just the underlying portion, because then you're going to lose out on the gist. To get the overall picture, to summarize that sentence, you have to get all the individual aspects from the sentence, and then you have to see what is the story that's being put together. Okay. All right. Thank you, Shraddha, for commenting about that. The sentence also says towards the end, thousands of complaints from frustrated users. So you need to link this to thousands of complaints. Why from frustrated customers? Why would the customers be frustrated? Because the patience of its customers was being strained to the breaking point. Now, the author has not written this sentence in the correct manner because of the manner in which it's written. It basically says, with the patience of its customers, and that's where we are coming to the next part over here, this parallelism error leading to meaning error. So now I want you to read this part over here so that you can understand that. Prabhakaran, absolutely right. Relieves congestion, that takes care of the network part. Frustrated customers, that's what talks about the people being frustrated. So good, Kriti, that you understand that part now from frustrated customers. Sahil, does rereading sentence help in understanding, or reading it slower works? Reading it slower works. In case you want to reread it, it's absolutely okay. What I'm not okay with is that you reread the sentence after you have looked at the answer choices. Now you are muddying the waters completely. The only thing that I tell you is that I want you to do is make sure that when you get to the answer choices, you have 100% understanding of what the sentence is trying to tell you. Don't go with partial understanding. Okay, don't go with just understanding of the chunks of the sentence. You need to summarize, you need to infer complete meaning before you go into the answer choice analysis. And again, this is something that you will find nobody else talks about. In fact, people would say absolutely the opposite, that you get the gist and you move on to the answer choice because you don't have time. Frankly, you have all the time in the world to answer the question. Why do I say that? Because if you have that 100% understanding of the meaning of the sentence, then you have a solid rationale to reject each incorrect answer choice. You won't have to keep coming back to the original sentence. Okay, that's why you need to have that absolute clarity of the meaning before you go into the answer choices. Okay, now does everyone understand the parallelism error that leads to the meaning error? Yes, no? Absolutely, Prabhakaran. You take time only because you get stuck, and you get stuck only because you don't have good understanding of the meaning. All right, so everyone understands the parallelism error leading to the meaning error. And again, this, whatever inference we drew from the original sentence while reading the sentence, we can actually extend that over here. Okay. Again, modifier error leading to meaning analysis. Read that part now. So that's your second error. Now, what errors were you not able to spot? You need to question yourself. When you read the solution, you need to question yourself that when I solve I understand that these errors exist now that I've read the solution, but when I solved the question, which errors was I not able to identify? Okay, so parallelism meaning error, Samresh wasn't able to identify that. Okay, good. So again, self-critique is very, very important. Okay. Now, at any point in time, if you have any questions about, let's say, parallelism error leading to meaning error, you put a forum post query and Shraddha over here is going to respond to you. Right? We make sure that each and every query that students have, first of all, we have such detailed solutions so that queries don't come in the first place. Even if there is a query that you have, we respond to that query so that your doubts are addressed right at that time, right at that point when you're preparing. Okay. Now let's come to the answer choice analysis over here. Choice A we know is wrong. Okay. Choice B is wrong again because you have this detailed analysis. The same modifier to meaning error that existed in choice A exists in choice B as well. Okay. Now again, patience of its customers and its networks. It actually tells you this is incorrect list because it's saying that patience of its network. That's illogical, right? So again, now if you weren't able to identify this error when you did the answer, when you did the rejection yourself, now when you review the solution, you get that level of understanding, you get that level of clarity. Now, how many of you rejected choice B because of the reason listed over here with regards to the list, patience of its customers and its network? Okay, so you were able to, I forgot, did I ask, were you able to or were you not able to? All right, so now let's come to choice. Now choice C is the correct answer. All of you selected that. Choice D is wrong because of these reasons. Choice E is wrong because of this reason. Again, now when you do this level of analysis, when you review the solution, you will be able to figure out where you faltered. Okay, now what is your error log entry for this question? I want you to enter that. All of you selected the correct choice C, but I want you to tell me whether for meaning do you belong in group A or group B or group C. Tell me what is your error log entry. Meaning group B. Okay, good, Stefan. Now, Stefan, group B1 or group B2? Did you not infer the meaning? Did you not spend those extra few seconds to infer the meaning, or did you not read the non-underlined portion to set the context? Biswajit, group A. What about, and Kavna, group B, wrong, group B1. Okay. So Biswajit, if you're writing group A, you also need to then talk about, did you get the question right? Because if you got the question right, then then the other two don't really mean much. Group B2 didn't read the underlined part. Now, one thing that I want you guys to notice here, almost everyone got this question correct. Actually, everyone got this question correct. Choice C was selected by everyone who posted the responses. But look at the error log entries here, especially when the error log entry is not group A. So now you stand to learn so much from this question that you actually got correct. Okay. All right. Now we are already 10 minutes over the time. I do have 3 more questions here. Let's go through at least one more question. Okay. This is also an official question, and I want you to get a hang of how is it that you do error log entries. Okay. That is what the purpose of this is. Okay. So let's go through this. Is this helping you guys first? Tell me that. I can go through them all. I'm fine with that. I've done the hard work of creating the presentation, so it's so if you guys are up for it, I can definitely do that. But tell me, what have you learned so far from this, and what is it that you're going to do after this, after doing all of this? I don't want this to just end in this session. I want this to become a habit, and for it to become a habit, you need to review detailed solutions. Okay. All right. Let's now go ahead and solve this question. Go ahead. All right. So I see quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 E's or 11 E's and 2 C's and 1 B. Okay. The correct answer here is choice E. Again, these are stats from our platform. 50%, almost 50% of students selected choice E. And again, this is a difficult question. Any question for which accuracy is less than 50% is considered a difficult question, 700 level question. And again, choice C is a popular choice. And yeah, so almost all the other choices are similarly popular. Now, this is the meaning analysis. So go through it. So first, again, if you notice, the meaning analysis consists of sentence structure, which is something that we teach in master comprehension course. How do you break a sentence down into its smaller chunks? And this is something that you will have already learned as you go through stage 1 of SC preparation. Okay. Now, after that, we do meaning analysis, and this is also, we take certain chunks and then we analyze the meaning. Then we take the next chunk, we analyze the meaning. Essentially, whatever thought process we expect you to go through as you're solving the questions on your own, we follow the same thought process in the text-based solution that we provide to you. Okay. And then after that, we put it all together because we want you to sum it up. So this is a very, very important part. What do you gather from the sentence? What's the summary that you gather? Okay. So go through it and then we'll talk about the next step. Okay. Has everyone read it? All right. Now, tell me what all aspects of the meaning were you not able to identify when you solved the question on your own? That there is a contrast stated. In one country, 18 is the max limit to be considered as a minor. In some other countries, this limit is higher, and in some other countries, this limit is lower. So, which all aspects were you not able to identify? And if you identified all, then just say identified all. You're absolutely right, Anand. And in some options, the pronoun was ambiguous, and we'll talk about that. So Kavna could recognize all. How about others? Identified all, Suyash. Good. Was there anyone who couldn't identify even a single one, but still couldn't sail through the options confidently? Okay, Prabhakaran, that's fine. It's okay. And again, I'm not saying that if you understand the meaning, you'll be able to answer the question correctly. No, that's the first step that you have to do. Okay. Next, we'll come to what happens once you understand the meaning. Okay. Now, again, this sentence was absolutely clear in terms of meaning. If you notice, nowhere have I said needed to draw an inference or needed to do a summary. The sentence is very clear in what it's trying to communicate. Okay. Now, error analysis, pronoun error exists. Okay. Now, if you were not able, nobody selected choice A, which means that you would have been able to identify this pronoun error. This is actually doesn't have any antecedent there. Okay. So that's the issue. The other issue is the usage of less and more. Okay, we are talking about the comparative age limit, and that needs to be expressed as lower or higher. Okay, now if you don't know about this part, you just make a note of that in your error log so that you don't, or you make a note of it in as a note against this particular question on the AGMAT platform so that you can remember, so that you can collate all these notes together at the end of it and you can understand it. Okay. But as such, meaning wise, it was clear. And there's this error. Nobody selected choice A as a correct answer, which is good. Now, choice B was selected by a couple of you, right? Now, over here, but this age is lower. Now, this age appears to refer to 18, the age of 18, and that is actually wrong. Okay. This age, there is only one age, the age of 18, and that's what it refers to. And that's why it's wrong, because it's nonsensical. The age of 18 by itself cannot be lower or higher. Okay. So now this is purely from what does the pronoun refer to? It's purely from that perspective and whether that's logical or not. Okay, that is where you bring in your meaning analysis over here. For grammatical analysis is what does this age refer to, and is that reference logical? That reference is not logical. The other error over here is with regards to semicolon. Okay, now let's look at choice C. A couple of people selected choice C. Again, it again refers to the age of 18, and that's why it's wrong. Okay, it's the same pronoun issue. Okay, now choice D, nobody selected that. Choice E is the correct answer, but the relevant age is lower. Okay, it corrects both the issues, both the pronoun issue as well as the idiom issue. Okay, now did any of you feel that relevant age choice is could not be correct because it adds a new word over there? Did any one of you feel that way? And that kind of analysis you need to do when you're making error log entry. If you did everything right, but you still ended up selecting the wrong answer, that's where it's important to do. Why did you reject the correct answer? And one of the possible entries over here could be that this additional word relevant in the choice existed and you thought it was incorrect. So that's when you now learned a new thing from this particular question, that there could be an additional word in the correct answer choice as long as that word makes contextual sense. Okay. Now, Kriti, there was no difference between the usage of although and but. Absolutely not. There was no difference between that. And Kriti, good point. You selected the correct answer, but probably the reasoning behind you selecting the correct answer was not the right reasoning. So again, strategic review is very important. Now, this point tells me that you should do strategic review on every question, or at least you need to make sure, because you need to make sure, are you selecting the correct, are you answering the question correctly for the right reasons? And you can figure that out only if you do this level of analysis for the right reasons. Okay, now if I accepted the incorrect answer choice and I accepted choice C over here, which means that I didn't notice the reference of it was illogical. which if now that I've made this error log entry, I know that this is a pronoun issue. So I need to be more careful with pronouns. I need to make sure that every time I select a correct answer choice, the pronouns need to properly refer to appropriate antecedent. Okay, so this is the value of doing proper strategic review, of maintaining error log properly. Okay, now let's do question number 4. Now this is an EG math question, so let's go ahead and solve this question. All right, I see it's been more than 2 minutes. How many responses do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 D's. Let's write down 6D, 1C, and 1, 2, 3 E's. Okay. Now, also tell me your confidence level for this question. How confident are you of your responses? How confident are you of your responses? Abhishek is saying not sure. 60% LP. Okay. Suyash 90%. Suyash, what's your answer? D. Okay. Tejas. What's your answer, Tejas? Anant 97.2. Okay. How did you come up with that calculation? Tejas is D. Okay. All right. I'm between D and E. All right. Okay. So here are the stats. 39% of people, the correct answer is choice E. Okay. And 39% of people typically select this choice. C is another popular choice. D appears to be the popular choice here in this group. So we need to figure out why that is the case. Okay. But again, there's stuff to learn from everything over here. Okay. Now here is the meaning analysis. So go through this and read this over here. Okay, so now author presents two claims about celebrating Valentine's Day. Claim one is claimed by a few experts, and then claim two is the more prevalent belief, and the two beliefs have been stated. Now, these are the four aspects over here. What I want you to do is, I want you to tell me which ones of these aspects you were not able to identify. Okay, so tell me that. Okay, tell me which ones of these aspects you were not able to identify. Okay, identified all three. Suyash couldn't identify three. Um, Lack tutor couldn't identify four. Okay, all right. Prabhakaran could identify all. Okay, all right. So again, if you think about it, contrast, it's explicitly stated, but you need to infer because the sentence is written in a weird manner, in an ungrammatical manner, in a grammatically incorrect manner. You need to infer that what the contrast is about. And then even the claim one needs to be inferred, and even the claim two needs to be inferred. Again, this sentence, because of the subject verb issues over here, structure issue, you need to infer most of the sentence over here. Okay. Now, again, structural errors leading to the meaning error, you can go through it. Let's go through choice. I'm going to breeze through this here. Not many people selected choice B. Let's go to choice D, which was selected by a number of you, right? So D and even C was selected. C is wrong because, why is it wrong? Because while a few experts claim that the church coined this thing, their more prevalent belief, so here there is what causes an issue, because now it means that the more prevalent belief is of these few experts, and that is absolutely wrong. Okay, so that's why that 100%, the 200% clarity of meaning is so very important, because then you won't make this mistake. Okay, in my previous session, when I talked about how do you handle essay questions, I said that apart from just the grammatical errors that you take with you in the error that you have a checklist of, you should also have aspect one, aspect 2, aspect 3, aspect 4, whatever aspects you get from the meaning analysis, you need to you need to have that in your checklist as well. Okay, so that you can make sure that you are evaluating each answer choice against these aspects that the original sentence wants to communicate. Okay, well, that's what is wrong with choice C. Now choice D is wrong because, again, the church coined the date, Feb 14th, as Valentine's Day with an ulterior motive to Christianize the pagan celebration of Lupercalia, as claimed by a few experts. Now, it is not very clear that, as claimed by few experts, what is claimed by few experts. This part is not very clear. Okay, and again, it's basically, is this modifying the action of the church, or is it modifying the intent to Christianize? That part is not very clear. The other thing is the more prevalent belief. What is this modifying? This part is not really clear. Okay, but its celebration on this date is to honor anniversary of Valentine's death or burial, the more prevalent belief. Now, what is that more prevalent belief? That's not clear. That is why choice D is wrong. Okay. Now, choice E is absolutely correct. Okay, and again, this is the solution that you're going to see. And over here, if you had a particular doubt about the missing that before the clause, before this part over here, but the more prevalent belief is over here, missing that, we also clarify that in the solution, so that you make a note of that point in your error log if you missed out on this question because of this issue. Okay, so again, your error log entry over here will be a sample one. If let's say choice C is selected, then it could be that I am in group B1, I didn't infer the meaning correctly, and I rejected the correct choice because the sentence structure was weird. I accepted the incorrect choice because I didn't notice the change in the meaning. So again, these are the entries that I'm going to make in my error log. And then each of these entries will have an appropriate corrective action. That's something which we provide you with. Okay. Shouldn't there be a that after but? Again, precisely that, Abhishek. You don't necessarily, over here, there could be a doubt that should there be a that before it is. Okay, you don't need to have that. It's absolutely okay not to have it. And that's the entry that you're going to talk about. Anant, you're absolutely right. Belief is it is in option E felt wrong. You're absolutely right. That is the most common reason why students don't select choice E. Okay. First one is a weird sentence structure starting with that. Second one is that you feel that that is missing over here. Now that's the learning that you need to have from this choice, from this question, that this is an acceptable structure over here. Again, that is being used as a connector and it can be kept understood. Okay. Abhishek, there shouldn't be a that after but because you're not stating something over there. Okay, that the church, but that the more prevalent belief is no, that's not. Again, you have to understand. You're talking about parallelism on a superficial level. Okay, you have to understand what is the purpose of this that. Okay, and whether the same thing is required over here or not. So again, you have to go into the depths of that part. Okay, all right. So now, guys, we are already half an hour over. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this question with you in the PDF so that you can go through it yourself. But one thing that I do want to talk about is that, again, you need to make such error log entries, okay? And to get to that 90th percentile ability, you have to do such thorough strategic review, and it doesn't come easy. It's not a pill that you can do. It's not a trick. It is something that requires that effort. But believe me, if you are, when you're starting off stage 2, if you're doing stage 1 correctly, if you're doing such kind of analysis when you're going through the application files, by the time you get to stage 2, you need to spend probably 2 to 3 days doing solving questions, creating the custom quizzes that we tell you to create, that we guide you to create. You take up medium level questions, you do 2 quizzes, you make sure that you get the appropriate accuracy that we guide you for, and then you do this kind of strategic review so that the next set of questions that you solve, you implement the learnings from this strategic review that you did on the previous set of questions, and then you do your hard questions. So again, the point is, we are going to give you the plan for how is it that you do stage 2. Okay, but the most critical part of that is, and we'll give you the platform on which you can do all of that, but you need to do this strategic review of each question. Remember the 2 things that are critical: the detailed solutions and the guidance I'll provide you with, but it's your ability to do the self critique which is so very important. Okay, and that's something which you have to do. All right. So again, I'm there to help you out. Just send me an email with your questions, and we're going to help you out there. All right. Any comments? Any feedback before I end this session here? Before I end the broadcast here? What's the biggest learning from this? Oh, thank you, Stephen. Okay. Tejas is saying, is it late to prepare for GMAT to apply for round 2, round 3? Absolutely not. They just write to us. Okay. Again, GMAT preparation, it all depends upon where you're at. If you spend, so send me an email with your current scores, with the details. I'll definitely help you out. Okay. So don't worry about that. It's definitely not late. In fact, if you get to that high score, you'll actually be able to, round 3 is not as what do I say, bad as people make it sound. Okay, so definitely write to us. Good, Abhishek. I'm so glad you learned from even the questions that you got correct. That's the whole point. You have to utilize each of these as learning opportunities. Prabhakaran, this session was right in time. I was going to review my essay section before stage 2. Good, Prabhakaran. So definitely go back to the application files once. Make sure that you go through the questions that you got wrong. I mean, yeah. So go through the application files, especially the modifiers and parallelism application files. Go through them once, and then you basically make sure that you do this kind of strategic review on those questions as well before you get started with stage 2 utilizing Scholaranium. So good, Prabhakaran. Rohit, thank you so much. Kavna, thank you very much. I'm so glad that you know where you're lagging behind. Suyash learned how to be more critical about the correct choice as well. Good, very nice. Lack tutor, since your last session, I just started paying attention to understanding of meaning first. Thank you. Thank you very much. That really makes my day. Again, it's very important for me to get this kind of feedback from you so that I continue to bring in such sessions for you so that you become successful. So good. Sarthak, again, write to me. Okay. Round three gets over in Jan 1. Again, write to me. Again, it depends on what your starting points are, so that your preparation level would depend upon that. So send us some information so that we can help you out. Now let me send you the link to the PDF here so that you can download that. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'll have to send the link from here. So give me 1 second. Okay, so I've shared the link with you over here. So that's the PDF link. All right then. Good luck and write to me if you have any questions. Bye-bye.